Adventure bikes have got to have spotlights, but a set of spotlights can set you back about $400 if you get them as a dealer option. Today we're going to check out some budget spotlights by a company called Future Eyes. These are their F150s, which seem to be a pretty popular model, and they're only around $100 US. So if you're looking to save some money on spotlights, this video's for you. The Chinese company Future Eyes seems to be making a name for itself with some well-made spotlights with interesting features such as having a fog light and a spotlight housed in the same unit, and a wireless multifunction control. Their F50 model is popular, and although it's not the cheapest, it seems to be the best out of all the other lights I've checked out. So let's get them on the fast boat from China and see what's in the box. Alright, let's see what we get in here. We get some stickers. And we get the actual units, of course. Let's see here. Oh, that's pretty good. So they have the detachable, the cable joiner here, which is pretty nice because this is very handy. I originally had a set where I just hardwired them on, but it was a real pain every time I wanted to take off my crash bars, but this is really good. So if you want to take off the crash bars, you can just unscrew these. Nice and waterproof. Looks very good quality. That's on there. And another great thing is they have a nice joiner here. This is one of those waterproof joiners as well. You can see down here you'll be able to detach them. Make it easier to install when you're threading cables. Pretty happy about that. Here is your basic wiring. Doesn't look too difficult, pretty simple. One positive, one negative, and you've got your accessories wire as well. So, nice. And this is an antenna cable, I'm guessing. See here, that'll be your antenna. That's going to hook up to your wireless. But that's going to contain our relay switch, I assume, for our power, as well as the electronics for the remote control, the wireless remote control. Anyway, all looks pretty nice. Very solid, well made. Here are the actual units. Now these are very weighty because they have a huge heat sink on them to get rid of heat. Here's the actual front of the lamp, the future eye, I guess you'd say. Okay, pretty solid, looks nice. Got the titanium finish here on the fins. Okay, nice. What else have we got? We've got our two units here. And here we have our actual remote control switch. There it is there. So we'll be able to stick that pretty much anywhere. It's your high beam, low beam, on, off. And one thing I am worried about is I don't have the little... Oh, I do have. Alright. Very good. Okay, I was a bit worried I didn't have the mount for the button because I do want... There it is. So you've got a selection of mounts. Look at all these. Okay, so these are the various ways you'll be able to mount the switch on. You can see here this will go onto your mirror if you want, or maybe you've got a bolt you can stick it on, and then you'll be able to stick your remote control button onto that, and yeah, you'll be able to get it close to your thumb. And it's also got the shims here for the mounts. I hope that's enough. There's 1, 2, 3. There's 3 shims. 3 shims there. And Oh, there's here are the brackets, top part of the brackets. What else have we got? We've got an Allen wrench, and we've got the actual bolts for the brackets. 2 sets of that. Oh no, there's 1 set of that. And we've got, this is the set of the mounts for the actual lamps. So we can put them on. They are including some screw glue, as they're calling it, which I assume means Loctite, I hope. Okay, that's that. Yeah, that's the bracket I think I'm going to use for my remote control. And just as a little extra, they give you a whole bunch of zip ties, even though most people probably have a lot of these hanging around anyway. Okay, and we have some instructions too, believe it or not. Unfortunately, in Chinese, but they are pictures, so should be able to follow those. Yeah, well, not too complicated anyway. Okay, well, that looks good. I think we should get to the installation. Right, this is actually a little bit not so easy because these instructions are not the best. You just got some simple diagrams, but they don't really tell you too much. Anyway, I'm going to run through this in case you do decide to get these, so you can save some time, because it certainly took me a bit of time. First thing you need to do is put the mount. So that's going to be like this, because you want the center of gravity to be right in the middle. And then you'll find a couple of little hex bolts that will mount these to the bracket to the spotlight. Now they do give you an Allen wrench or a hex wrench. You did get a hex wrench, and that's not the right one. There it is. It's a skinny one. Okay, so you probably should put some Loctite on these, but I'm just showing the process here. I'll probably pop some Loctite on there later. Alright, so once you've got your bracket nicely centered, you can move on to the next part, which is getting your little, I guess, what would we call this, a swing arm? That's going to go in like that. Okay, and that's not too difficult. You just find the bolt that is used for that, which is a kind of short one. It's going to go through, and you'll use the small friction washer. So this is a friction washer, which is going to bite into the metal when you tighten it up, so the spotlight isn't going to wiggle around too much. And on the end of that, we have a nylon nut, which will go on like this. There we go. Okay, so that'll tighten up when you get your... Right, so that'll be tight. Next is the brackets, which you get 4 of these and they all look identical, but they are not identical. So first thing you need to do is find the one that fits onto that. And that ain't it. And that's not it. And that is it. Okay, so there you go. We found the one that fits on there. These all look the same, but they're not. So find the one that fits on there, like that. Then the rest of the process is just going to be like this. So you'll have your bracket like that. It's going to sink into here. And on the other side, you'll have, the thin bolt, which will go into there. Like that. And that is how it's assembled. Okay. And that'll be ready to put onto the bike, I hope. So if you're going to have these spotlights mounted hanging down, you're going to need to swap the bracket and the heat cover around. So you want the bracket on this side because you want the fog lights to be on the bottom and the spotlights or the white lights to be on the top. So anyway, all you have to do is swap these brackets around and it's done. So we've taken off the bracket there, and we need to mount it. So you can see, if you take the heat shield off, you can see there's some mounting holes for the bracket on the other side. So we're now going to put our bracket on this side, and that means our lights will be correct. So as you just saw before, I've installed mine hanging down under my crash bars, and you can see I've swapped the bracket around there. Now putting them on was made really easy by these detachable cables. It makes life a lot easier. So you can just mount your spotlights where you want and don't worry about the cables for the time being. With the lights mounted where I want them, I then just threaded the cables down the side by removing one of my side panels until they popped out under the seat near the battery. The Future Eyes come with a relay switch built in, so all we have to do is connect the positive and negative to the battery and the white wire to any accessories wire. Now this is going to be different depending on what bike you have. Accessory wires are usually white or orange, but if you can't find one, you can just jam the white wire into the fuse box. A little primitive, but it works. If you are an adventure rider who's going to be adding more than one accessory to your bike, I really recommend getting one of these things, which is a multi-power distribution box with built-in relay switch and fuses. The one I have here is made by a small Japanese company called Kaidia, right here in Yokohama. And I think it's the best one, and it also happens to be the cheapest at around $30 US. There are also products from another Japanese company called Daytona, which I'm sure you can find online. Since I do have one of these units, I can cut off the ends of the wires and even cut off the built-in fuse, just twist the white wire and red wires together, and simply plug it into the Kaidia unit, as you can see here. As for the switch, I attached mine to my mirror. Pushing the main button once will turn on the fog lights, which produce a bright yellow medium throw beam, which is good for adding some light to a gloomy road. Pushing the main button for a second time will switch to the high beam lights, which give a very bright, long throw, white beam. A third push of the button will ignite both the high and low beams for maximum brightness and distance.
You'll want to use this mode only in dark places where you have no oncoming traffic, because anyone looking towards these lights will be blinded, perhaps literally. Finally, long pressing the button for about 2 seconds will turn the lights off. Moving on to the flasher button, the first push will put the white lights into a simple on-off flashing mode. Pushing the flasher button for a second time will make the lights flash in a left-right pattern. And finally, the lights can be turned off by long pushing either button for 2 seconds. I've been using the lights for a couple of weeks now, and so far I'm very happy with them. They are working flawlessly, and the only criticism I have, it's a little inconvenient having to long press to turn them off, but it's not a big problem. Another thing I'm a little concerned about is the battery life in the switch unit. I don't know how long it's going to last. To change the battery, I'll have to re-stick the switch to the bracket, but that should be no problem. And I think it's worth it since I was able to avoid putting yet another wire on the handlebars. So, to sum up, I give the Future Eyes F50s a thumbs up. And if this video helped you with spotlights, please give it a thumbs up too, and subscribe if you're interested in adventure bikes, Husqvarna Svartbillens, and bike life in Japan. Till next time, ride safe and thanks for watching.